and that static are being sacrificed. And that's, if your stuff's not available, they can't hear it. Sometimes you gotta feel your way through the dark, and I struggled all the way up into the minute. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all you guys.
This is Hindsight Radio. I represent it.
All right, welcome to the Unbound Soul show with Raquel and myself, Akeem. It is now 8:20. We started a little late. With the unforeseen occurrences. To be specific, New York parking requirements. So how you doing? What's going on?
I'm all right. Life in the city, looking for
I
parking.
don't miss that parking. I love New York, but I just don't miss the parking part. I don't
Yeah.
even mind driving around New York. I'm okay with that, but then when it comes time to parking, that's grueling.
Yeah, that's usually when you have good ebooks. You put on a podcast, and try to make it where it's at least you're doing something that feeds your brain instead of frustrates you. So
Right. Um, you're a little off centered right there from here. Does it look that way on your end? The other way. There you go.
really,
No,
because I feel like my head's chopped off, but okay,
maybe because on yours, but like when I'm looking at the split screen,
maybe
yeah, it's like you're
camera.
leaning over and cutting off.
Wait, which way is better? Can you
That
see me now?
a little bit, yeah, I can see you better.
Okay.
So what are we talking about today?
So we're talking about
Aliens?
a case. No, not Three Eye Atlas.
Yeah.
Not Three Eye Atlas. I think they're going to use that. Was it Hillary Clinton that said never waste a good tragedy or something like that? So I'm sure they're going to use this for their advantage in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think you're right. They're gonna take advantage of this, mess with people's minds.
I know it's like War of the Worlds. People have to remember when War of the Worlds came out, the radio show, people actually believed it.
Right.
So I think that was kind of like a test run even then. People believed it and they were going crazy.
Really?
Yeah, they actually thought there were aliens coming and invading the planet. They were people. It was like mass hysteria.
Wow. Wasn't it just like a radio show like any
It was,
other?
yeah, but the thing is that your mind cannot distinguish between reality and imagination. That's why we have to remember that our minds are so powerful that we can use our imagination to create anything.
Right.
So when you keep on imagining what you're hearing, these aliens coming in, it's gonna start, infiltrating your sleep, and it's gonna be replaying over and over again that it's like, oh my God, this is real. This is real.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? So I mean, it's happening now, right? Not even just with aliens, but other things. Like people believe what they hear and see is real. That's why this whole stuff with AI and these AI videos is kind of scary.
Right.
Not kind of, it's very scary because it's becoming more sophisticated where you're not even sure if it's real. And for me, it's gonna get to the point where it's like the boy that cried wolf. Someone's gonna eventually um, be recording something and no one's going to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be like something really happening that that person needs help and people are going to be like, no, this is AI.
Right. Yeah,
So
yes.
yeah.
I could tell most of the AI videos for the most part.
Yeah, that's now though.
People
Imagine
just
as it gets
jump
more and more
on
sophisticated.
everything they hear and think it's real.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I saw a few of those cat videos and I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And then I was like, let me look at the comments. And it was like AI. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I
Yeah.
fell for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
saw a couple yesterday. People were believing it, sharing it. Oh, this is a great message. This is AI. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All right. So the top.
So the topic is a case that is being taken to the Supreme Court uh, about Kamehameha Private School in Hawaii.
Mhm.
They're saying these people, I don't even like to say mainlanders because for me, Hawaii is meant to be a sovereign nation.
Mhm.
So people who are of the United States, not of America, but United States, let's give that distinction, um, are saying that this school engages in discriminatory practices and it's unconstitutional because it's for people who have native Hawaiian heritage only.
Mhm.
This school is in a private trust.
Mhm.
It was started by the princess, the last um, descendant of I think it was a king Kamehameha.
Mhm.
And to any Hawaiian who's watching this, please forgive me for not pronouncing things properly. Um, but yeah, so this princess who was married to someone who was non-Hawaiian
Mhm.
uh, wanted to make sure that her family, her heritage, her ancestors were honored and where the education was restored. So I'm sure you're familiar with what happened in Hawaii as it did, it happened here, it happened all throughout the world with indigenous populations where they were sent to like boarding schools to
Mhm.
basically ethnically
Be-
cleanse them.
be reprogrammed. I actually have a
Right.
photo, like a cartoon depiction of that.
Yeah.
Then I did like a
Yeah.
show where they showed like the natives inside of a school and being reprogrammed by the government.
Mm-hmm.
Find that picture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And you know, Hawaiians weren't allowed to speak their own language.
Hmm.
I worked with a family. They live here in New York City, and the the father, the grandfather of the children I was working with, I believe, was mostly of Hawaiian ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I feel so ashamed that I don't know the language of my ancestors. I wasn't allowed because it was forbidden to learn it. So my mother and her elders would speak in Hawaiian. I'm not sure what the correct name of the language is, but you know, for for better, for just at least some understanding the Hawaiian language, they would speak it, but they would speak it in whispers,
Hmm.
and so the children didn't get to learn it. And now with this school, actually, this school was founded in the late 1800s. There is some preservation of the Hawaiian culture. So much was taken from them. This is to restore what was pillaged, what was raped of
Mm-hmm.
the culture. Like this woman was doing whatever she could, and it's her last wish to make sure that this school remained pure in its stance to um, educate Hawaiian children as they have been educated for centuries, eons.
Right.
The school focuses on how there is, the responsibility of caring for the land and the interdependence of the land.
Mm-hmm.
So they really teach you um, how to just connect. Oh, and I forgot about the Bible verse. Sorry.
Hmm.
So, and which is appropriate. The Bible verse, Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. So they want to make sure that the children continue the education of their ancestors, the knowledge of their ancestors, not indoctrination, because this is really connecting with the land. They may have their deities, their gods, but their deities are um, like the ocean, the mountains. Those are deities which was created by the Almighty Creator. So some people may say, "Oh well, they don't believe in God." They just don't believe in God the same way you do.
Hmm.
You know. So yeah, so that's what this school essentially is doing their best to maintain. But then you have someone who is Caucasian, who actually I think was born and raised in Hawaii, um, went to a prep school, well to do, I believe, a wealthy family. Um, and he's the one that is the main plaintiff in this lawsuit.
Hmm.
So what they're saying, the Hawaiians are saying this guy has everything, and because he can't have this, he wants it, and it's just a continuation of colonialism.
Right.
So they're saying it's like a race-based admissions, and they're saying it's not race-based admissions. This has to do with the culture, like
Culture.
the restoration of our culture, right?
Hmm.
They're using some case with Yale about affirmative action. But the difference between Yale and this school, Yale accepts government funds.
Hmm.
This school is
Exclusive private.
exclusively
It's a private.
privately
Hmm.
funded.
As long as they don't take public money, then they could do whatever they want.
Exactly. But, excuse me, um, you have attorneys saying, well, they could be in a lot of hot water over this. And it's just like,
No, no, it's a private organization, private trust. It's just like these country clubs that have private membership that don't accept other ethnic groups inside of them. They get away with it. Why? Because it's a private club. They could do whatever they want.
so I wanted to definitely, you know, you're saying that, but I think it's important to discuss this in greater length. Like
Hmm.
this isn't a trust.
Hmm.
So let's just say hypothetically, if this were to succeed and they say this school engaged in discriminatory practices and they have to allow um, non-Hawaiian natives, I think they're called haoles in Hawaii. Um, like, what type of repercussions could this cause?
I mean, the only repercussion other schools like it could have to abide by it, but I don't know what type of lawyer they got, but it's a trust. And if their charter and their bylaws are very specific about who can be a member or come to the school,
Hmm.
I don't see how they lose. In America, anybody can bring a lawsuit,
Hmm.
even a frivolous one. You see, what the goal is for bringing a lawsuit is if the person has money is to break the other person where they can't fight anymore.
Hmm.
Not that it have merit on the case. It's
Hmm.
about money. So if the school is not doing well financially, they could lose simply because they don't have the ability to fight.
Right.
Not
So
because
then,
the position is right or wrong.
but that could set precedent for other schools
It could,
and other institutions, not even
it,
schools, just
but
institutions in general, I would
it
assume.
could. I don't know the details of how they structured the school. But if with the right, you know, It's a private entity. It's not taking public funds. It's like a almost like a private club. A private unincorporated club could do basically what it wants.
Hmm.
It's not under the jurisdiction of the government to control what it does. Only time the government can interfere is if that entity is causing harm to the public.
So that's what they're saying, is that it's causing harm to people who want to enter the school and can't. And it's like, but wait a
That's
minute,
not
but you're
causing
not.
harm. Causing harm is if I do something to you to harm you, hurt you. You wanting to come to a place you don't belong to or belong.
Mhm.
That's not harm.
Okay.
But unfortunately, in this country, anybody can raise a lawsuit and raise an issue. So this battle could go on for years.
So let's just say hypothetically, like you said, it's about money. So the person who is spearheading this lawsuit is MAGA supporter, and there's billions of dollars behind MAGA.
Hmm.
Now, from what I've been seeing and reading, this school has, is well funded. But
Oh,
can their can their funding, like their funding, they're going to have to use some of their funding to pay for these lawsuits, which can then um, impact the curriculum.
nah. If they
No?
got enough money, it's a civil lawsuit, and it's got to go through the court system. So average lawsuit like that, 2 to 3 years in the court. If they lose or whoever loses can appeal, it just think could go on for 10 plus years. Who's got
Right.
that type of time?
Well,
And then the
apparently this
they
guy
don't
who
want
did
to let
it.
anybody in the whole time until this lawsuit is decided.
Right, right.
And so,
And
sure, they got strong supporters that's going to put money into the school
mhm,
to keep it going.
yeah.
But I don't know the structure of the school. Like, are they doing religion, ritual? Is a religious structure, religiously structured or
Well,
culturally
it
set?
is a private Christian parochial school,
So it's religion.
but
Okay.
mhm,
Yeah.
but they are going, they're teaching the Hawaiian
It's
traditions,
it's
which
like
is
this.
another form of religion.
It's like this. Jehovah's Witnesses got rules, right? If you don't abide by the rules, they can kick you out.
Hmm.
Now they do accept all creeds and colors, but you can be ostracized from religion. The whole you can come to their meetings, but you can't participate. But
Mm.
they get away with that because it's in their bylaws that's and whoever becomes a member agrees to that. These people are not members of their stuff, and the only people that is can be a member of that school or go to that school must have a specific heritage. So they're not discriminating against just one group of people. They're not saying just one group of people. It's a difference if everybody else can come in, but this one group can't.
Right. Like I couldn't go to that school.
Right. Purpose. It's everybody can't get. It's
Yeah.
just only designated for this tribal members. It's
Right.
nothing. I don't see how they could win that.
So
It's possible they
what
can
would you
win,
say?
but if they have the
Mhm.
correct lawyer, they cannot. They would never win if he's using the Constitution. It's religiously they're religiously restricted from accepting other people into their school.
Yeah. My concern is
If
would
you
they
have the
have
right lawyers and they're making the right arguments, there's no way they can lose. No way.
right, which I would think that's
Now
it. Like it's the First Amendment. Like what
thin
else?
dummy lawyers will always give you commentary. Oh, I don't see how because they're looking at civil rights laws. They're not looking at
Yes.
constitution. That's all they're going to
Hmm.
speak. Well, civil rights laws, this and that. Like that's the law of the land, and that's not. The Constitution is the law of the land. The Constitution
Hmm.
says that no one can bridge your religious freedoms. According to their religious freedoms, these are the only people that are part of can be a part of this school system. There's
Right.
so many other schools they can go to. Why are you trying to force your way into that one?
Colonialism.
someone being a jerk.
Yeah.
You see, so I don't see with the right argument, with the right positioning. No, they is I can't see how they would lose that battle if they argue it strictly on their religious constitutional beliefs.
Hmm. Hmm.
They're not harming anybody. They're just saying only this particular people can go to this school. This is only
Hmm.
to teach them. They must have a special curriculum, probably teaching the language
Hmm.
of the ancestors and things like that.
Hmm. 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 Yeah, exactly. So, let's see.
Yeah.
Now you're saying, so for me, this concerns me with homeschooling and what have you. Not, I mean, not even just schooling, but being that homeschooling is becoming um, more and more, I wouldn't say popularized, but families are seeing that they have to be the ones to train their children, right? Just like it says in Proverbs 22:6, right? So you're saying the bylaws. Um, so homeschools should have specific bylaws.
Hmm.
Like, what can they do
Organization should
to?
have bylaws or um some document that shows how the school is going to run, the
eh,
processes.
Right. Well, at least the admissions, not necessarily the curriculum.
Even what they're going to teach should have this is what we believe in, this is what we teach. And if someone's going to do a homeschool, they should do it a religious homeschool. That's where your major protections are, not just a homeschool. It needs to be a religious homeschool.
Now, when you say, because people are going to ask a lot of questions about this,
Hmm.
when you say religious homeschool, like, does it have to be under a specific religion?
No, just a
No.
religion. It doesn't matter.
Not a
Constant.
specific religion, but I mean like that it has to be a religion. Like it has to be Catholicism. It has to be
No, it doesn't
Christianity.
have
It
to
has
be
to
any
be.
specific. The Constitution doesn't say tell you what religions is protected and which ones aren't. It's any religion they want to have it. It doesn't matter across the board. It just needs to be based on some type of religious structure or belief, no matter what that is. It could be demon worship.
Mm.
Doesn't matter.
That'd be scary.
Yeah, you got to remember
Wow.
the word demons is a man-made structural word. So we've been taught to be afraid of demons.
Hmm.
What is a demon? Like, really, anybody ever really looked up the word demon in its original form? Like, for instance, people believe Lucifer is a bad word, right? They believe that's the devil. But if you go to
But
Revelations,
light bearer, isn't it?
it means Lucifer just means light bearer.
Hmm.
But who do they, isn't Christ called the light bearer too?
Hmm.
So if you read Revelations, Lucifer and Christ is one and the same. They just if you go to the Revelation, it said you're the bright morning star. What is the morning star? What isn't
The
the sun?
sun.
The star is it comes up in the morning, right in the early morning star,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And the
Hmm.
Son
Yeah.
of God, SUN. That's why when you look at pictures of Christ, we're a little off topic, but you look at pictures of Christ, especially the old ones, there's always some type of brightness behind his head.
It's a halo, but it's the
Well, they
sun.
call it a halo, but it's really the sun sitting back there shining, basically saying that is this really a physical person or is this a personification of the sun?
Mm.
And those depictions of the sun was always they came in after the fact because the major worshiping deity on this planet was sun worship,
Mm.
especially people of color,
Mm.
right?
Hmm.
The That's you piece of like the whole Ra, the whole what's that story? Isis and Ra and how that's
Mm-hmm,
all a
mm-hmm,
story about the sun. Um, so when Christianity became mainstream, they started to incorporate the sun worshiping and put the sun in front, paint them into that spot of the sun as being the son of God, or the what is really they say the son of man. Why don't they say the son? Well, of course they say son of God, but they also use son of man. What is son of man? That's the clue. The sun is for what? Man to thrive. You without the sun, we will die.
perish.
Won't
Mm-hmm,
perish. So
mm-hmm,
the son of man, or the son for man. So, but
mm-hmm.
anyway, back to the whole with the right argument. If they argue this case on civil rights, they will lose. They will lose. Because why? Because civil rights can be interpreted any way the Supreme Court wants to interpret it. So let's just say in the court, the first court battle, they lose, and then somebody appeals. So the court is going to look at it. And if they don't have in that argument constitutional protections arguments, the court won't look at it. Why? Because what is the Supreme Court? It only debates the context of the debate according to what was presented in the case. No new evidence can be provided once it goes to the appeals.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have the right lawyers
I
or
hope they do.
constitutional lawyers that really understand these things, they will win. But if they argue like most of these other lawyers who really don't understand the Constitution and don't think take it seriously, they will lose. That's long and short of that one. Because the
Right.
Constitution is clear. If they have written restrictions on because of our these are the only people that we believe can be a part of our school. Period. No matter if it's a Christian school or not. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter that Catholicism and Protestants and Methodists allow any race in there, but this particular sect says no. There you go. Can I just go
Right, but usually, what was that?
join the Amish, go live with them? Would they allow me to walk up and become part of them?
Probably not.
No. And then if I took them to court, oh, they won't let me in there. They laugh at it. Why? Because they are not incorporated into any system that the government can control.
Right. Or even like a lot of the Jewish schools.
Right. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if the Amish will let me in or not. I don't know what their rules are. I just know most of the people that are part of that are European descent people with
Hmm.
beards, and they ride around. They don't use power like things like that.
They
They
don't look
certainly
electricity.
they don't use electricity. So I'm just using that as an example. I typically I think I can go into a synagogue, but can I be
Yeah,
adopted
you can go.
in the
Right.
Jewish faith?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can. I'm talking about the
I know
school.
there's
Like
people
if you're in a
who've
school.
done it. I've seen that, but I'm just saying there's certain.
Hmm.
What about Hasidic Jews? Like, what about that part? That sect of Jews? Because you got different types of Jews. You got the Hasidic.
Yeah, different
I think
sects. Yeah.
there's a
Hmm.
rabbinic.
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I'm using the wrong term. But what I'm saying, the ones with the black coats. Hey, I want to be part of you guys. Out of no way.
Hmm.
Those are the gangsters. Those are shotguns under those coats. And you think I'm joking? But what I'm
I
saying
don't
is,
know.
but hey, I want to be a part of. I want to be. I'm gonna want to wear the beards. I want to wear the black hats, and I want to wear the black coats. And if I tried to sue, what do you think would happen to me? I'd probably go missing.
Hmm.
See? Most likely
Yeah.
I would go missing.
Yeah.
They would not have it. And nothing would be done if I did go missing. You see, they have their warrior class in their religion. There was a Jewish kid that got arrested way back in the day. I think it was like in the 80s or early 90s. And the Jewish, this was happening in Brooklyn. The Jewish community men went into the precinct and tore it up. No one got arrested. Went in there and wrecked shop in that precinct because they arrested
Why?
a Jewish kid
Yes, but why were they allowed to do that?
because they got arrangements with the city. See, they'll allow certain people to do what they want according to their religious beliefs. But the reason why they get away with it because they buy into the system, they pay into it, they pay for their protection, and they their religious system says that they can do that, protect their own. They were going to get one of them, and they let that boy out too. He was the kid. Remember the one? They arrested him. He was from. I think he was from Israel, and he hit and killed two little kids,
What?
and he didn't have a driver's license. Two little black kids. This is a very old. It's back in the '90s, early '90s or late '80s. He hit. I think it was late '80s, somewhere in the '80s. He hit two kids, and he didn't have a driver's license, and they arrested him, and they tore that precinct up, took him out of there, and sent him off to Israel. Put him on a plane out of there. No one got in trouble for that. It was right there, and I think it was Crown Heights, Brooklyn, where this happened. And shortly after that, that's when we had all the riots. Remember those riots back then
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
Brooklyn? That was the reason why. And then another kid, a black kid, had a penknife and ran up on a Jewish kid and stabbed him. And the kid died, the Jewish kid. So they tried to prosecute the black kid. And come to find out, it wasn't the penknife that killed him. It was he died because the hospital failed to treat him in time, didn't take the wound seriously. So he laid there in the hospital and he just died. All of this came out of that incident where the guy ran over the two young black kids, a boy and a girl, and killed them. And then when the guy got away, never got prosecuted, sent him away, then everybody got upset and had a riot, and they ran up on a Jewish kid, and the guy stabbed him, and that kid got out off. The one that did because they put him on trial, and then
Hmm.
forensics said, well, it wasn't the wound that killed him; it was the lack of treatment that did.
I'm sure
The
that hospital got
wounds he
sued.
had was not life threatening, but because he wasn't treated for hours, I think he sat there like almost a day, and they didn't do anything. He ended up dying. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you know how the hospital back then, them hospitals were notorious for leaving you with wounds. You could be shot in the head and they just sit you off in a corner. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So
Wow. Wow.
with the school, it just depends on how they argue the case that whether they'll win or lose. They stick to constitutional protections, they'll win. They go to that civil rights nonsense, they will lose.
My concern would be, there's so many attorneys. They're all in a brotherhood, the
Mm.
bar, right? That the attorney that they hire, who knows if they're anyone with, integrity,
Mm-hmm.
and
Somebody,
will intentionally sabotage the case.
yeah, they could. They could set it up.
Demon
Somebody
or
put it.
daemon means divine being.
Mhm. A lot of the things that we believe are evil are not so evil like we think they are. They just been
No.
that way.
Yeah. Well, it's to keep
That
us,
way.
within a certain ideology, and not discover who we, or remember, not even discover, but remember who we truly are.
It's like they call Satan a manslayer, right? But how many people do you know that's the devil actually killed in the Bible? Like how many? Can't think of any. But you could think of plenty of people that God sanctioned to kill in the millions. So you really put it all on the table, and religious people, Christians mostly, will justify these killings because it was all done in the name of salvation and God. These people were evil.
Yeah. Well, that's why over 100 million um, indigenous people throughout the Americas were
But this is the
taken out.
reason why the indigenous people are in the position that they are now, because one group of people, and this the whole reason why I believe this guy is trying to take over that school or sue the school is because of this white people that's in the know are trying to fulfill this old ideology called manifest destiny.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's why he's doing that. Their destiny is to conquer the world through Christianity and take control of this. Everybody else is a savage or a heathen.
Hmm.
That's how they justify what they do. You're not a true divine being according to them.
Hmm.
So you can be treated however they want to treat you because you're not chosen by God. You're a Gentile. Some people call it Gentiles. Some groups call them profanes, heathens. Back in the day, it was when on the Christian, you were a heathen. You're a savage.
But this is a parochial school, though. This is a Christian parochial school.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. The one thing about power when it comes to European mindset, they want to take over everything they put their hands on to, or they come in proximity to, even on the smallest level. Even in conversations, just in general conversations, just pay attention. Just pay attention to the European mindset. It's always trying to dominate, and they do it subconsciously. It's just automatic.
Hmm.
They see a group of people thriving and doing well. Oh, what's that? And they want to come take it over. It's almost instinctual.
Hmm.
It also reminds me of a particular being that's um, at times can be territorial,
A particular
and it
being.
walks on all fours. They're pack animals. They run in packs and can be territorial at times.
Hyenas?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
No.
Of the
Lions? Oh, wolves?
canine. Yeah. Well, what's the
Yeah,
answer to
but
canines?
wolves don't try to take over, you know, whole swaths of land. Like there is a respect of territory.
Mm. You really think so? Those the wolves, in in the wild, they travel. They travel in packs and they go from place to place doing what? They hunt in
Hmm.
packs.
Yeah, but they don't hunt. They don't take out a whole. Like
Yeah,
if
but
they're going after one animal, they're not going to
a
take out the
trait.
whole family.
It's a trait. It's a trait. Just pay
Hmm.
attention. When you understand the genetics of this planet,
I
you start
mean,
to see the similarities.
I'm just starting to think of Romulus and Remus,
Hmm.
raised by wolves, the founders of Rome. The
Oh
founders
yeah.
of Rome.
Hmm. But everywhere since they've been able to go over the planet, travel the planet, what have they been doing? Going from place to place,
Pillaging, stealing,
pillaging, taking over, and disrupting the natural
order.
indigenous order of
Hmm.
things.
Hmm.
Chaos.
Hmm. And they're only 7% of the population, of the global population.
Well, and that's a reason for that because they don't really feel like they belong. So they have to feel that sense of belonging. And then the way they do that is through taking over and hijacking things,
Uh,
whether it be a
well, I'm hoping.
nation, whether it be land,
Yeah.
groups. Most indigenous groups fell by the wayside or got destroyed because they allowed them into their group.
And that's my concern. So let's say hypothetically with this school, Kamehameha,
Hmm.
they allow a haole into the school. Again, that's how
Hmm.
they call them in Hawaii. Um, then this person or these children, these families may say, "Oh no, we want to have a say in the education," and it
Hmm.
just keeps on going and keeps on going, keeps on going, keeps on going until they just take over the school.
Hmm. Once it happens, over time they will take over. Because once they get in it, the parents are gonna want to change the rules according to them and make it fit
Hmm.
the way they want things done. That school will be done, pretty much.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I really do hope that their attorneys are not compromised.
And that's a
You know, that's
possibility.
yeah. I mean, you pay someone enough money,
Hmm.
you have you have Sambos everywhere, not Uncle Tom's Sambos.
That's a
And
possibility that their lawyers could be working for the other side to get it done. It all depends.
but the thing is I mean, there's a constitutional lawyer who said that to bring something like this up, this is a private entity, this school. If the Supreme Court were to rule in favor of the plaintiff, of the person that's suing the school, that is going to send, or that's going to set a precedent that can really affect just about every private institution.
Hmm.
I
Could.
mean, I know it has to do with wording and what have you. Like they're going to use a certain set of wording that has to be studied very carefully to not fall into that same word trap, you know, but it just makes it harder to defend basically the Constitution. I mean, for me, I feel like that might even fracture the
This court case
Constitution.
is going to go on for at least 5 years, 3 to 5 years, because all kind of motions are going to be filed to delay. It's all just winding through the court system. It's going to go on for a while.
I mean, listen, my court case is still going.
Now, the guy that's suing,
It's
is he
2 years.
go to school or what is he suing? Is he got kids he wants to put in the school?
No, he lives in Virginia. He just knows about the school. He went to a private school in Hawaii because again, he's a wealthy. He grew up,
He's just suing just to
wealthy.
be suing.
He's just yeah.
He's not trying to get any.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that they're trying to um, ensure that the Hawaiian culture does not continue.
Okay.
You know that they're going to try and fracture what is left
Why do you
for a
think?
complete takeover, huh?
Why do you think that's his motive?
Because that's usually the motive of of the people who come from the Caucasus Mountains.
Yeah.
You know,
I have to read the case and see what that, look at it for, you know, see what they're talking about. Can you send me that information?
I sent it to you. I sent you the one from what the lawyer was saying about how it could really affect pretty much all entities if this were to succeed.
Right.
I mean, then that would be like if you have a
If they
private
fight it right,
club.
I don't think it's gonna succeed.
Yeah, because then that means people like us can go to a place where we were told we can't go into. They have a membership. Well, this case succeeded, so I guess we're going to use that to take over your stuff.
The government really can't interfere with their rights to privately contract. That's the other part of the Constitution. They can't interfere with private contracts. So basically, what that guy is trying, that's the Constitution. That's in the Constitution,
Hmm.
right? The private. So when it's a private school, they have a right to contract with whoever they want. So to go to their school, you get into a contract. They don't have to contract with you for whatever reason.
Hmm. Where in the Constitution is that?
It's in the Bill of Rights.
It's in the Bill of Rights.
Hmm.
Okay, in the first
You have a
10.
right to private
Yeah.
contract. So if you and I get into a contract, the government can't interfere with the context of that contract. So that's even outside of religion. But it's a
Mm.
right to privately contract, meaning if you and I have a contract, only thing the government can enforce is the what's in the four corners of that contract. As
Mm-mm.
long as the contract is nothing in that contract that goes against the other principles of the Constitution. Like, say, if I contract with you to be my slave, I can't. They can interfere with that because slavery is abolished, right? So, but um, yeah, that's another part of the Constitution. Private contracts shall not be interfered with.
Yeah. Well, a contract is a covenant, basically, which is
Yeah.
like the religious term
Well,
of a contract.
you got to think. What is most? You have trust and all of that stuff. So those are all contracts. This is why they
Mm.
made those rules.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
they want you to have, have a will. Well, this is with his contract. This is how he contracted things. Um,
Right, right, right.
Although sometimes the state does interfere with contracts, but people don't know if you don't argue the point, they'll they can get you.
Hmm. So, in other words, anyone who's doing a homeschool, private school that's not taking government funds really needs to read that part of the Constitution and probably even put that in their bylaws.
Hmm. The reason why they can't take any public funds, to receive public funds, you must abide by
Right.
rights
That's
laws.
why, right. They were, and so I'm sure that's why they never took public funds. They were just like, no, because we know then that'll be their way to meddle with
Hmm.
what we're trying to do. So, yes, all you homeschoolers out there, make sure you read the Constitution. So when you
You
set up
gotta
your trust,
read
your
this
bylaws, you
Constitution.
have that there. You use the verbiage of the Constitution.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the contract clause in the North Carolina Constitution.
So is it based on state constitution or the federal
So it's the
constitution?
federal constitution says it, and also the state constitution says it.
Okay.
So if the state can interfere with your private contracts, then that means that you have no liberty to contract with people.
Mm,
That's not freedom.
right.
Um, People endowed by their creator. Let's see.
You're looking at the case.
No, I'm looking at with
Oh, where it says about the contracting in the
Yeah,
Constitution.
it's might not use the word private or contract, but um, laying around the road related to prairies, related to citizens. Let me pull up the United States Constitution. Yeah. But if they stay on a religion, they're doing it because of religion, their specific denomination is not allowing people to come to the school. I don't see how they're gonna win that at all. Because if they were to make them lose, that's like them taking private property for public use. Because now you're saying it's open to the public. And this is it says so nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So that means if they're gonna allow anybody to be in there, even though it's a private school, now the government gotta pay them for that
Yeah, but
allowance.
the government can choose what they want to pay them.
Yeah, well, they have a budget for that. Mean pay them like most schools, like even little, outside of the public schools, they apply for like the food lunch program to get
Hmm.
from the federal government, but they have to. You got to take anybody or walk of life in that school in order to get that.
Hmm.
They have daycares that do that. Regular private daycares that get federal funding for lunches. Hmm.
Which then means that they would also have to abide by other government contracts, such as the medical
That
intervention.
any well daycares, if they licensed by the state, have to abide by all of those vaccines and make sure that the kids are vaccinated before they can come in.
Right. So it's best if you want a true private daycare, don't get licensed by
Mm-mm.
state, or I guess don't operate under the state license, but operate under a
Well,
church.
the, the the state is very funny with that. Like, if you have so many children at once, they consider that a daycare, and you must be licensed. That's how they get around. If you know, so it's they found ways to infiltrate privately run daycares. Why? Because you're taking in public people into your facility, right? You're taking people outside of your home into your home. It's not family members. So now when they say
But
that,
wouldn't they be? But would it, if it's under a church, wouldn't they be members
it
of your
doesn't matter
church? Would that be?
because most of those people coming in are U.S. citizens and they're under the jurisdiction of the government. So you take their U.S. citizen into your private school.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying?
mm.
So it has to be like this school is. You have to be of a specific faith and tribe in order to come here, in order for that to work where they can't mess with you. Everybody that you take into and your daycare must be one of your affiliated with you religiously somehow, or maybe it's a relative. You can't just take the general public in and do
Well,
that.
that's what I'm saying. If it was based on certain religious
Right.
beliefs, we share these specific religious beliefs. But
Right.
even then, if like let's say they exceed that threshold from the government, can the government still come in even though they
They
have
come
those
in and try to
specific?
investigate, and I've seen that. The government can do whatever they want when they feel like someone is doing wrong. Will they win? That's the other battle. That's the other.
Right.
They can do whatever they want. Can they? Yes, they can come in, but do they have a right to come in? No. So
But
If you
that's where
gonna
you have to default to the bylaws. Like you have
right,
to be
see
super specific with your
where
bylaws.
where a lot like this school, most likely, even though these people are tribals, their status is not correct. Totally.
Right.
And that's the Achilles heel. So
Right.
they need to be having everybody need to have the same status. This is all that's here as part of this community in order to be here. But so if any of those people got socials and they dealing with U.S. citizen paperwork, that leaves them vulnerable.
Mm.
Can't take a benefit from the government, and although people don't believe it, but a driver's license is a benefit. Because what do they say? It's a privilege to drive. What does that mean? It's a benefit. Even though they
Mhm.
make you pay for this benefit,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
that's why you have to correct your status on that piece of that document. So you can show that you have a right to have that, not as a benefit and privilege.
So this school, for example, it would be best if they all had their status
In check.
in the.
Well, I
Uh-huh.
mean, technically they are because they only take in certain tribal members, but you also a lot of people don't think this far and okay, are you walking around with a social? Are you walking around, as a US citizen? How many of them are acting as US citizens in the school? Even the staff who runs it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm from this tribe, but at the same time I'm a US citizen. Get my point? So
Yeah.
all of that stuff need to be in line to keep these actors out. So basically, this guy is suing and exposing is going to expose any weaknesses in their
Weaknesses.
claims. It's a lot of details there.
So yeah, anyone who is homeschooling and just their own children and they want to keep it that way, they need to.
Most states don't interfere with like North Carolina. You can homeschool and you can pretty much teach your kid what you want. You pick the curriculum. They don't control any of it.
But it depends on the state. New York is
Right.
pretty
New York is a
hands
Democratic
on.
state. Well, mostly it's the Democratic states that act like that.
Hmm.
California, same way. Um, so in North Carolina, you can make it a religious school. All you gotta do is by the simple letter have a religious school, homeschool, and they record it, and that's it. They don't come in and check and do all the books and
Right.
anything like that. But the key is you have to really, if you really want real protections, you got to move out of states of like New York and California because no matter what the Constitution says, they're going to railroad you when it comes to your rights, and they're gonna fight you on it. That's what they're gonna do.
Mm.
Their job is to. There's only one group of people that get to do whatever they want. New York.
Yeah.
Everybody else got to follow the rules. So, oh, that's all I had to say on that. I don't think any. Yeah,
Yeah.
if they fight it right, they could win. It just depends on how their lawyers, and I'm not confident in their lawyers.
Are you confident in any lawyer?
Not really.
Pretty much no.
I've met some
So
really good ones. Like I've met some good ones. I'm not gonna say all of them, but very few of them really understand Constitution and how to use it to their advantage. Then on the other hand, they can't use the Constitution. They take an oath to uphold the state's statutes.
hmm.
Constitution. They even though they say they uphold the Constitution and all of that, they take a secret oath where their first loyalty is to the state. You see, That's their first loyalty. Where they get their license from.
Hmm. Were they licensed or their bar card?
Well, they call it a license, but it's a bar
But it's
card.
not. It's a membership.
Mm-hmm. But according to them, it's a license. And they call it like, do you have a license to practice law?
Yeah.
And they take the bar.
Mhm. All right. Well, this is some good food for thought. I hope
Mm-hmm.
whomever is watching and has a homeschool or private daycare really dot their I's and cross their T's and not just say, I mean, having the religious um, entities is a protection, but do more, do as much as you can.
Like, this is how they break the Constitution. Like in Article 7, the Amendment 7 of the Constitution. This is United States Constitution. It says, in suits at common law where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved. So that means if any suit that you have that's exceeds $20, you must go by jury trial. They break that all the time. Foreclosures in those non-judicial states,
Hmm.
like North Carolina is a non-judicial state, meaning no jury decides. The judicial judge says whether you win or lose. That's a violation of
But
that.
people don't fight it.
People don't know about it. Most people don't know that's there. So how can you
Right.
use
So,
it if you're not
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
mhm.
That's why it's really important for people to know this stuff
It
because
says no
they're gonna, it's my people will perish for lack of knowledge. So they'll take everything from you if you don't do your due diligence.
it says no fact tried by jury trial shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. So if a jury decides otherwise re-examine, once a jury decides, that's it. How many times stuff go before appeals and all of this stuff?
Hmm. Hmm. And then in this case, they get to choose some of the jury members.
Hmm.
So they can choose jury members that are in their favor. I mean, both sides. You
Hmm.
know. But is it like even? Like there's 12 jurors, right? Usually 12 jurors.
Depends on the jurisdiction. You have to read the state's constitution to say how many jurors.
Okay,
But
so but would it be like let's just say hypothetically it's 12 jurors. So the defendants get to choose six, the plaintiffs get to choose six. Is
I'm
it
not
that
sure.
black and white?
I'm not sure
Okay.
they peak. I think they get to agree on who they want. They
Okay.
have an agreement. Like they get
Okay.
one. Do you agree? You don't agree? It's I think that's how it goes down. They
Okay.
get
It's
to
like another contract.
right. They say okay, we agree with this one. They both
Okay.
mutual. It's like a mutual agreement. Not well. I get six, and you because you get to ask the
Got
judge.
it, got it, got it.
I think it's a mutual agreement.
Yeah, because I would say like that's split down the middle then, but I
Yeah,
just wasn't sure. Okay. All
yeah.
right.
If
That's all good to
one
know.
proves it, then well, I don't want this, and then I think it's a mutual agreement of the jury.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's it, I guess.
Hmm.
That's real interesting. I'd like to see how that case comes out.
Yeah.
But
And now, real quick, because you had said homeschool, anything like in California or New York, how they like to keep on pushing it. But I would just think that having a religious entity, like, how can they push that?
they do push it because I dealt with California and New York on that. They still push it. How they push it is through the Health and Human Services, meaning if they have more than 20 people and the vaccine,
Mhm.
this and that. And the reason why they can push it, remember, the children that's coming into these private establishments are considered U.S. citizens. So that's how they push it.
Got it.
And
Okay.
so they're protecting their citizens.
Got it. Okay.
So if you're going to do it like that, the people coming into school must have a they have to have their status corrected and not being seen as a U.S. citizen
Mm. Okay.
where they have jurisdiction over that.
Okay.
That's the problem. Even the
All right.
people running it is seen as a U.S. citizen. So yeah, I got a religious school, but you're a U.S. citizen. You're part of my church, so you got to
Yeah.
follow these rules.
Yeah.
All right, it's all jurisdictional when it comes to stuff like that. So that's why you really, if it's going to be private, it really got to be private. So like the Amish, right? They don't go get socials. They don't adopt into the system. This is why they most times they don't get messed with. Every now and then,
Mm-hmm.
some government entity try to interfere. Why? Because they want to take land from them and do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, they're not. They're known to be private people, a private organization away from civilization who doesn't use electricity, and they're largely left to their own by themselves. But
Okay.
the issue with these daycares, where they are, they're like a religious daycare. Where are they sitting? Right in smack dab in the middle of the city, in the city, which that's county land, controlled land.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to build a private establishment where they can come to that's outside of their jurisdiction. See?
Yeah. Many
You got a
layers.
whole community. You can't be, come on, you would come on into my private and this is religion. No, you can't have their people, their members in your organization. Now that's the way they could get in.
Yeah.
Everybody got to be a one faith, one mindset, one nationality. See, that's the only way it'll really work. So, all right.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. That's the end of another great show. That was a good topic you brought up about the schools because, and you can't haphazardly do it. You can't half-ass it. You have to go all the way. Okay, you're gonna be a part of. This is what you have to do. You have to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Have to have these things in order.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
all right. Close us
All
out.
right. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. And I wish you paz y mucho, mucho amor.
All right. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to everyone. Have a good night.